Gary, there are some times when you see a group of players and whatever happens, they seem to have that frame of mind that they're never going to be beaten. Today was one of those times, and you must be immensely proud of the guys that went out there today.
I am, yeah, very proud. I was very angry first 20 minutes, if I'm honest with you. I thought we were very ill-disciplined first 20. We probably gifted Doncaster a little bit of field position, and to be fair to Doncaster, they started like a house on fire, and we didn't match and we didn't handle them. So I was a little bit disappointed with the discipline first 20, but I think the longer the game went on, and once we started getting into the arm wrestle a little bit, went set for set with Doncaster, and we saw them, the energy sort of died out of them, and we lifted a gear. And I'm immensely proud of that, and I'm proud of 11 men. You know, when we were down to 11, I did feel the worst, and yet we scored and kept them out. So I was delighted, and they showed a lot of courage, Ian. And as you said there, we've got a group of players now, I think, that really want to work hard for each other and never say die. They'll just go right to the end, and that's certainly what we've done today.
That, as you say, that first 20 minutes was a bit of a struggle, but Doncaster had a game last week and a tough game against Newcastle. This is Hunslet's first match of the season, so you can expect that there's going to be a bit of rustiness to actually get up to speed, and that probably was partially behind that first 20 minutes.
I think that's a fair call, Ian. Yeah, I did think that, you know, when I saw the fixtures come out and that we weren't going to get a game first week, I thought that might not help us, because although we played a friendly against Bradford, you need that competitive edge of playing for competition points, because it's a completely different game. And Donny did have that, and they had that in the tank. And I did think that might go against us, but thankfully, you know, we found a way to get back into the game. I think people questioned our fitness levels over the last two games against Leeds and Bradford, because we've conceded points against those teams in the dying 10 minutes of the game. But I don't think anybody can question our fitness now, and that never say die spirit again was immense. And you know, that's why we brought in people like Adam Robinson, people like Richie Moore. They've got that experience of digging deep, even when things are going against you. Just dig deep and see what comes out the other end, and that was in evidence today.
But saying that, you had two sin binnings at one time, and you lost Richie Moore just before half time to a high shot, and he didn't come back on. And you've also got the rule change where you've only got 8 interchanges, and so that fitness really did come into the fore today.
Yeah, there was a lot to think about, wasn't there? There was an awful lot to think about today, to be fair. Yeah, it did. And the one thing that we haven't mentioned is Doncaster played 3 Super League players. You know, Danny Washbrook and Malia Cooney and Brad Frash. I don't know how many Super League games they've got between them under the belt, but they had 3 Super League quality players in their ranks. So, you know, we've got to, we probably haven't mentioned that, but I'm going to mention it because I think it's worth mentioning, because we beat a team with 3 Super League players in, and to come back the way we did was immense. But yeah, you know, the 11 men, and I thought the sin binnings were harsh. I've chatted with Nick Cohn. He said he didn't speak to the referee in the manner that the referee thought he did, but you know, we've got to be a little bit smarter than that. And I think discipline is certainly an area we've got to look at this week, because going forward we can't afford to give so many penalties away, and we can't afford to be chasing games and coming back from games in the manner in which we did today.
But overall, I mean, I wasn't going to mention the dual reg because we've used it in the past, you know, one thing or another. How do you motivate your players when, you know, I know the game isn't played on paper, but effectively when you look at the side, it could have been overawing for some of the players to go out there.
It could. I tried to turn it into a positive, and I said, look, you know, Doncaster have had to go to Hull and bring some quality Super League players into their team, because you know that's how they respect us, and I turned it into a positive. You know, they brought Danny Washbrook in and I can't ever get his name right, Maludi. They brought those players in because they fear us, and I try to turn it into a positive and say, look, that's credit to you fellas, that's respect to you fellas, because they know we're a good team, and it certainly worked. But I don't think people like Richie and Robbo and, you know, they don't need that kind of motivation. They've played at a high level, so they know they've played against some very good players. So you know, it's one of them. It goes for you, it goes against you. And I know, you know, love or hate dual reg, and I know that's debate it long and hard for forever. But I'm not a fan of it. I know we've got an arrangement with Halifax, but we'll use that as a safety blanket as much as anything. But you know, Doncaster seems to be using it as a way forward, and that's up to them. That's their call. But like I said, I'm just really pleased about my players, and to come to my, you know, where I've coached here, and that's 2 away wins on the trot now in 2 seasons. So I'm absolutely delighted for the players as well, because I think we'd about 6 or 7, 8 ex-Donny players in the ranks today as well, which I didn't realise. So delighted. It's always nice to come back to your old stomping ground and come away with a win.
This league is going to be one of those this year where you can't really afford to drop points because there's so few teams, and you know it's going to be hard to make those up. So how do you take this forward now? Because West Wales, they showed improvement over the weekend, and we've got them next week.
Yeah.
So how do you keep that momentum going?
Well, it's important. I mean, the first and foremost, when we look at you're right, there's only 20 games, so we can't afford too many slip-ups, but you've got to win your home games, that's important. And then to come away to a place like Doncaster, who are potentially going to be one of our, you know, one of our threats for promotion, and take 2 off them, that's massive. The important thing is now when we play Donny at home is that we don't give them 2 back. We've got to really make sure that we go and win the game. So, you know, win our home games, pinch what we can away from home, and take it game by game. And you're right, West Wales have made a massive improvement. I think Scholars only beaten by 10 points yesterday, so that's going to be a massive game for us, and we've got to take everything good about today into next week to make sure that we don't come up with any errors and make a mistake and end up, you know, shooting ourselves in the foot at home, because home games are massive.
You've put a bit of a target on now. We're not dark horses anymore. You know, come to Doncaster and get a result like that, people start to look at Hunslet and say they're maybe not a bad side this season. Well,
I always wanted to go under the radar. You know, all this pre-season hype about who's going to do what, and nobody's really mentioned us. I don't mind that. I'm happy with that. You know, we'll just fly under the radar and come and play at places like this and take away wins like we have today. You know, I'm happy with that. I don't want to be the centre of attention and in the limelight. That's not what we're about. We're about, you know, doing the job on the field and coming away with 2 points.
Well done on today.
Thank you.
Let's hope the season keeps on going like that.
Let's hope so. Thank you very much.
Less
less stressful.
points, yeah.
Less stressful. Okay,
All right,
cheers.
thank you.
Thanks.